welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love once again. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and I am sincerely grateful to all of you who've already stopped by, who may stop in later, who may tune in just to see what's going on. Today, Jack's energies are a little bit different. I've been seeking that high again, right? That inspiration to be, yeah, let's go with all of you today, but I'm more chill today. It's just Jack again. But today, finding your love of life, it is the key to your happiness. Finding your love of life, not the love of your life, not the things you love, not the people you love, not the places you love, the love of life. That magic of breath. What a gift. It's always with us. Whether we realize it or not, that gift of breath is what keeps us moving. That's the sign that we live, and it feels good to live. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it hurts, man. Life can be anything we create it. Oops, oh, doggone it. Wrong one. Today's thumbnail was much more simple, wasn't it? Love what you are doing or do different. I'm gonna develop that simple little concept a little bit more today, and probably drop the link in a little bit. Part of Jack wants to hang out and kind of chill out with friends, and part of Jack wants to get back to his productive life. It's Friday night after all. Here's a lesson I hope to share with you. It's a simple and obvious truth. Even challenging tasks, they can be loved. The key is to find gratitude and purpose with anything you choose to do. Love being you. Love being alive. Love being a man. Love being a woman. Love being whatever it is you are. Love being as you walk. Well, don't get caught up in the man or woman. Love being the Spirit of God here in the human form as you walk with trust in the Holy Spirit that guides you. Brothers and sisters, these words from Jesus, I didn't take them seriously most of my life. The last 7 years or so has really opened my mind and my heart. See, what Bryce sells the beach clearly doesn't recognize is wisdom. Because the truth is, I'm sharing the honest words, logical, they're reasoning. There's nothing wrong with my head. Well, maybe there is. So what I've been focusing on for the past several years for myself was purifying me, purifying my mind, purifying my heart. And guess what? I found freedom. I want you to join me in the freedom that I feel. Not the freedom you think I have or you have. I want you to live with the freedom of knowing, not believing, not thinking, knowing God is with you on your path through life. The only expectation that I'm pretty confident of, stay honest, stop lying to yourself, stop lying to others. If you don't know, you don't know, and it's up to you to admit you don't know, whoever you might be. But brothers and sisters, the lesson I learned for myself, be willing to be wrong. Look out. I mean, look intentionally. Where am I wrong? Where am I wrong in my behavior? Where am I wrong in my words? Where am I wrong in my deeds? Where can I improve? If you don't find where you're wrong, how the hell are you going to make yourself right? It's up to you. Tommy, I'm talking to you. You're one of them, brother. You're one of them. It's up to you what you think, what you do. But you better be aware that everyone around you is just like you. They're trying to figure out this crazy world by themselves. Some people didn't have good instructors. Some people didn't have good teachers or leaders. Some people didn't have good role models. I was blessed in my past. I had the attention and the care of some really fine men and women in my past, men and women from my past who I looked up to. I admired them. I honored them and wanted to do what they could do to be a leader. And brothers and sisters, this is who God has created me into becoming. I know who I am. I want you to know who you are, like I know who I am, so that you can walk anywhere in your town, anywhere in the country. You can go anywhere you want because you're going to choose. You're going to be paying attention. You can go anywhere you want and know you're in the right place, because you always are. But if you're not paying attention and you're following advice of people who don't really give a shit about you, you'll end up taking some bad choices. And the scripture from the Bible is love God, all your heart, all your mind, all your soul. Give it all to God. God is the breath that lives you. Give it to God and be still in the present moments of your life as often as you can allow yourself. You control you. By God's grace, God has given full control of you to you. Well, it's somewhat. I mean, it's a paradox. God's in control, but we're in control of what we think, say, and do. We get to limit ourselves. We get to govern ourselves. We get to restrict ourselves from doing wrong, from being rude, from being cruel, from being selfish. Watch for where you're selfish. That's where you're wrong. That's a lesson I learned for myself. Wherever I was selfish, in hindsight, I was wrong. It's pretty simple and obvious. We're not here to be selfish. We're here to give back. Give back to the world. Give back to your mother, to your father, to your neighbors, to your mentors, to your teachers. Give back to your community in your way. You have a beautiful way of giving. You have a beautiful way of living if you align yourself with the beautiful way of living, with the beautiful way of giving. It's all there for you to discover. Finding your love of life, it's actually simpler than you want to believe. To love the life you are living. This is where Jack Talcott has found himself. And holy shit, it's been a crazy story. Praise God sincerely. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here right now in the front of a laptop and with comfort and shelter and warmth. That's all God's grace, man. I worked hard to receive God's grace in my past, but I give all goodness to God. And brothers and sisters, if you find goodness from me, it is God. It's not me. It's by God's grace that I get to be good. It's by God's grace you get to be good. It's by our choice or not. So any mistakes, the profanities, the insults, that's Jack. I'm responsible for that. I chose to say those things. I chose not to censor myself and hold myself back from insulting or swearing every time I've done it. But just like me, you are. As Jesus was, I am. As Jesus was, you are. Okay. Now, people, especially Christians, they don't like that idea. Oh, I can't be like Jesus. Jesus is God. Well, hello. Where is God with you? Is God absent from you? If God is absent from you, you are no thing like Jesus. But is God ever absent? We are. The egoic mind, the selfish mind, the part that runs this whole society we're a part of, the selfish, human, limited mind, it'll focus on fear. It'll focus on problems. It'll focus on memories and judgment. The egoic mind will deny your love from becoming apparent because the love that God has for you is there. I found it. If I can find it, you can find it. I've accomplished nothing special. I mean, look at me. I got a reputation as a failure. It's pretty clear, man. This is God's story, man. We're living it. We are living God's story, God's life, God's plans. We are the instruments through which God's plans become fulfilled. How do you feel about your part? You can love it or hate it. I'm pretty sure God allows us to do either. I used to hate my life that I'd been given, and that was before I discovered what love really was. Love is the only thing that matters to me. And here I'll share this part of my story because this is part of Jack's life. I just happen to share a little bit of it online. I use the opportunity to, update myself and you about what's going on. So after the stream yesterday, I've been in my heart. It is time. I've spent a lot of time purifying my mind, my heart, and now it is time for me to take my physical body seriously. It's time for me to get back in shape, start cleaning up my life in whatever ways I can, and that's what I'm doing. So last night I had the television off, paying no attention to what's going on, and I made a nice meal, had music playing, dancing in the kitchen, just loving my moments like a child. And I was so moved by thoughts, spirit. I broke into tears probably maybe 3, 5 times last night. It was a bunch. I was just in the spirit and alone with God, and it was the most joyful. I'm pausing because I recently heard an old talk from Paramahansa Yogananda, a beautiful spiritual messenger from not too long ago. And one of his talks was, joy, joy, joy. Truly. This is how I heard it, and it explained it for me. Joy, joy, joy. Truly. Oh, wait, where is it? Joy, joy, joy. Truly sweet is the nectar of God's love. It's addictive. And once you find a taste of that, it's like, whoa, where did that come from? I want more of that. It's all within you. Communicate to God within you. Okay, if it's been a while, it's time. 2025 is the year where mankind wakes the fuck up. That's Jack's opinion. Sorry for the coarse language, but wake up. That's why we're here. We're here to be conscious human beings who care about life, who care about Mother Earth, who care about their neighbors. We're here to learn and grow and to accomplish things together, not all alone. Brothers and sisters, we were born into a world it's far more mysterious than is shown in the public schools, in the news, in the politics. This world is far more divine than mankind has allowed, maybe, because a bunch of selfish liars running around. That's what we got with Donald Trump, Elon Musk. They're selfish liars. Elon, I don't pay as much attention to, so I haven't been keeping track of. I can't specifically call out his lies, but Donald Trump, I've given him enough notice. He's clearly not a man to be trusted, not in my opinion. But I don't trust liars. But then again, I also don't ignore liars. I pay attention. I pay attention to what the world shows to me. Because whatever I get to see in this world, God allowed me. Just like with you. God allowed you to see and do all the things you've seen and done. Now, are you proud of you? In the past, I wasn't. I've admitted my shame. I've admitted my mistakes. I've admitted my Stephen. Yeah. See you later. Sorry, had to take care of something from the chat there, just for a moment. A little prideful arrogance being thrown around. And this prideful arrogance, it sabotages a man or a woman. Pride and arrogance. Doggone it, I took myself off of a topic to talk about, last night. I was dancing, exciting, tasting the joy of love and God and bliss, and just, it was glorious. I hope you had a beautiful evening last night in your own way. I was just alone in my home doing nothing, just making dinner. And carrying those thoughts through, though, after going from my place of joy, I was really wondering, how the hell do I share this? How long is my son going to continue punishing me? How long is the life I've been living going to continue? Hey, you know what? Just to see what happens, we're about 20 minutes in. I may keep this a very short stream, like I said, head back to my day. But for those who wish to join, I'll feel free. Ideally, what I'm hoping for, before you click the link, anyone, if you're here and considering it, ensure your mind is open. I'm really tired. I'm really but my patience is exhausted for the fools who don't want to listen, for the fools who want to complain. So, and interrupt me all the time, Stephen, if you're still listening. Don't bother. Not until I see something from you that shows you've changed. Frank, welcome, brother. How are you?
Greetings, doing well. Thank you for having me, Jack. Good to see you again.
You as well. Happy New Year's to you, my friend.
Happy New Year's to you as well, my good man. I was listening over the last few days. As you know, I don't have much time to chime in, but when I do, I like to if I can. Today I'm off. It's Saturday morning, January 4th, here in Old Peking.
Beautiful. Well, you are a man of wisdom as well. I appreciate your company. Thank you, Frank. We have an interesting opportunity here because I know you are a good communicator as well. We have someone in the back who likes. Here, Ham Banana, why don't you cam up so I can see that you're paying attention, please?
I wanted to talk a little on, if I may, I wanted to talk a little. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead. I was going to bring him up, but no, let's respect you.
No, 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 that's fine. I was just gonna say, I'm from L.A. County. I was born in Los Angeles. I grew up there, and I caught wind that you were headed down there for a retreat, and I wanted to just tell you a little bit about my experience growing up in LA. And um, there's a lot of wonderful things going on. Never personally came across like whatever the other folks were mentioning, like trying to cast a little bit of suspicion and aspersion on what you had going on. But I've been to hundreds of retreats. I've been to Taoist retreats. I've been to all different kinds of retreats, but I've been to hundreds of these, and I've never had a bad experience. So I'm just giving you my firsthand knowledge on the matter. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Thank you. We're living at a very unique time. There's so many methods, healing centers, retreats, there's spiritual information, health information, mental information. There's all sorts of healers and teachers alive today. Those are the people I really want to connect with. So
Yeah,
far, God has
absolutely.
brought me Steven and Snafu and Tommy and Paul and Banana and all these other numbnuts. Um,
And it's a part of the path too. It's the resistance that makes you stronger. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger would use the old example of lifting weights, all that chaos and static in the world that comes at you. It's strengthening your God muscle, as it were.
yeah, that's what I realized. And it makes sense too. Here, I'm going to run for just a minute here, okay? So
Okay,
bear
sure.
with me. um, crap. Now I forgot what you were saying. I'm sorry. What did you just say?
Oh, no problem. I had mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger and the static and chaos in life. Just
Oh,
being the resistance.
thank you. Growing. My what I'm wearing my Veterans for Peace, right? The branding of that organization, the mission of that organization, Veterans for Peace, is to help educate and awaken the world around us to the atrocities, the destruction, the inefficiencies of war. War is evil, brothers and sisters, okay? But that's not my purpose of this stream. My purpose with you, anyone who tunes in, well, if I want to plant the seeds, if you want to help me, join me. But my purpose here each day is really, it's God focused. It truly is God focused. And the idea of repentance, the idea of finding Christ means a commitment. You're going to change. You're going to admit, yep, my past ways on my own, I was shameful. I was wrong. But by God's grace, because my belief that God will grace me with forgiveness, it seems scary. Okay. I recently heard another testimony from someone last night. They spent their early youth actually in the occult and doing all sorts of black magic and inviting in evil into their life. His testimony of faith and repentance is beautiful. This man is I didn't bring it up, but there's many divine messengers. Maybe it's you. I think we all are. And sorry, Frank, I'm figuring out how to do this thing so it looks right. With that point, though, when we do turn to God, when we turn to Christ, to love, to the truth, it doesn't mean everything gets easy. I thought life would be a lot easier once I found God, but boy, I have been tested, and that's what you were talking about, Frank. These people online the past couple of years have certainly allowed me to strengthen myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Christ's one of his biggest messages towards us, or to us as humanity, was that there is strength through suffering. And the more, the world challenges, obviously God's on our side, and when we get him on our side, we're empowered. But at the same time, that doesn't mean the world isn't going to stop challenging us. Jesus was tempted constantly, and he had to give the ultimate sacrifice And yeah, so it shows us this message of strength through suffering. So it's not entirely bad that sometimes you platform these guys that constantly challenge your every virtue, your patience, your endurance, your tolerance, all of these things, because you do shine well in that as well. I know it bringing the static to your channel and platforming it. You may be moving away from that in the future, but it has shown your resilience, and it's giving you the ability to do both well and to make mistakes and to learn and grow. So it's not entirely a bad thing.
Thank you, Frank. See, this is
But
why I love talking.
I
Please,
haven't had
what
much
was
luck
yeah,
with them either. They've been pretty hard on me as well.
you're much like me. The little bit I've heard, I can tell. Well, you've got a caring heart. That is clear. And that's what I was just saying. I love having conversations with you because you do. You see the good. That's what I found. You mentioned Christ, Jesus, and his sacrifice. Stephen, thank you for joining. I see you in the back there. This thought came up regarding you and Paul after yesterday's stream. What was it? Oh, Stephen, what you were offered based upon your words of wealth, I don't know if I'm going to bring him up or not.
He's already starting in the background, and he's just offering you his. I don't know what it is with Steven. Like, I've had a lot of problems with him. Every time he comes in, he just launches right in with the explicitives and the degrading, and it's like he's in a low place that he just really can't get out of for some reason. Like he says constantly, he refers to this as the hell realm. And as long as he's going to perceive it as such, that's what it's always going to be for him. All the great philosophers agree that whatever you believe to be true is true, at least for you. So it's this what do they call it? The confirmation bias or whatever. He's just looking for the bad in life. It's kind of, it's extremely sad, especially when it's directed against people who are trying to do their best to bring forward a good message, like yourself, and others that are on the spiritual path. And if nothing else, like your retreat, I was thinking about recently, and it really kind of got me a little bit, envious and jealous, which is never a good place to be necessarily, but it's also somehow motivating. And I thought, yeah, I was planning a retreat for 2025, for the summer of 2025, to go to LA. And I know some people out there, and sometimes I go and visit and go on those because there's such a valuable opportunity to reflect on self and develop some new skills, and then come back at life with a fresh mindset. And I think it's super important to do that occasionally. People talk about change all the time, and they're like, they're fearing change or they're interested in change. Change is the one constant that we have. It's change is constant, and that's one of the enduring truths in life, is that how you deal with it is what's going to make or break you.
That's the key that helped me settle my mind many times in my past. The reminder, it'll pass. Everything comes and goes. This moment too shall pass. Remind yourself in the good moments and the bad, so you don't forget. This too shall pass. And in the good moments, be especially grateful for the good moments. And in the bad moments, the tough ones, that's an opportunity to build your faith, for you to be strong and persevere, to prove to yourself that you can make it. The idea of what you were saying, Frank, the investing in retreats and such, anyone listening, if you haven't yet, I know there's a lot of frauds, and I know there's a lot of half-ass people doing things, but there's also some incredibly gifted, incredibly wise, unknown people available. I have been so blessed. I've gone to some of the bigger named events and smaller named events, but Frank, what you said, yeah, I got my money's worth. It was money well invested because of the development in who I became through that process, and then applying the extra knowledge and the extra inspiration afterwards. That's the way to do it. So
Oh,
for
absolutely.
I just want to toss the idea out for anyone who might hear. If you find an opportunity that you're interested in, an event or something like that, you've never checked it out, if you can afford it and you can spend the time, go check it out. Invest in your wisdom, invest in your growth, discover what other people are learning, discover what other people are doing in this world. We are living at a time of change. Change is accelerating. It's been compounded. It's like we are at a pinnacle of this point in the evolution of society. We're either going to watch it crumble and we're all going to suffer together, or we're going to watch it reform and we're going to prosper together. I'm fixed on this path of watching and participating in this world reform for the future. If you're interested in joining, if you're interested in understanding things you hear me say, and you don't want to click the link, you just want to hit me up, as long as you're respectful for time of our time and me, I'll share freely. Back to the idea of the sacrifice of God, and when I was dancing around thinking about Paulie and Steven, they didn't see what God offered them through me. God has offered them opportunities to show their generosity. They don't want to do that. They want me to earn their money.
Yeah, like yesterday, it was so interesting yesterday when that was going down. Like I could see that you saw it, but I was so shocked that everyone else couldn't see like the manipulation and the tactics to draw you out in order, to send a $2 super chat or whatever, and this whole facade of, oh yeah, I may or may not give you something, but I'm going to string you along enough to make a big show of it. And if I do drop Bitcoin, like, if they were going to drop 100 or something like that, then they were definitely going to get the recognition for it. But yeah, the subterfuge was apparent to me, and it was apparent to you. But and it was curious to me too that other people who said, oh, they're giving you a genuine or sincere offer or something like that, I thought either they're deluded or they're just playing into the whole thread. And so I think it's important, sometimes you have to be a little bit wary of that. You found a good thing, it brought light to you. And the other thing I was going to say too is that this opportunity is an investment in self, and you've mentioned that as well. And I mean, what better thing could you do than invest in self? And the other thing too is whatever intention you're going in with it, which I know is pure, and your intention is to learn and grow, that's what you're going to get from it. So it doesn't matter what goes on around you. You see the light, you're following it, you're going towards what's going to elevate you both spiritually and in this world, so that you can be a better warrior for God and a better prophet of the light and stuff like that. So it's good. It's a good thing. I'm looking
Thank you,
forward to you
friend.
enjoying your experience with you vicariously. I know you said you wouldn't be live streaming while you're there, but definitely give us a full report when you do return.
Yeah, I will. I will. I'll figure something out. And who knows? I'm actually as excited as I am for the opportunity in 3 weeks. I'm still hopeful that maybe I'll have to cancel. I'm hoping to get to Washington D.C. Maybe that could happen too. But until I get something beyond this is an amazing opportunity. And I know that should things not happen for me before that date, this will be what was the term? Yeah, this may be a turning point for where my transformational journey renews. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the thing too with synchronicities, like Carl Jung was talking about. When things start to line up, they line up rapidly and in quick succession, and you will have to, dance on your feet, so to speak, and make the best choices because everything entails an opportunity cost. So if you do the LA thing, I mean, welcome to it. LA is a wonderful place. Like I said, I grew up there. It's got its problems, but it's one of the most dynamic cities on earth, the city of angels, as they call it, right? And I would suggest if you're there that weekend of the 24th, 25th, and 26th, if you have extra time, go ahead and stay through the week because Chinatown's going to be on fire. That's the Chinese New Year. So they'll be doing dragon dances and fireworks and lots of food and festivities. So that would be a fun thing too. And it's going from the dragon into the snake year. So kind of a fun thing.
I didn't realize that was the same or near that time. Hey, we've got a friend joining here.
Yes, I just want to make this very explicit. The evidence is showing us that neither King Stephen nor Pussy Paul has 1,000 USD of liquidity. There's no reason for us to take their offers or bribes seriously because they don't have payouts. There's no evidence of them paying out anyone whatsoever.
That's a good point, Hank.
I mean, Paul has had the co-hosts, but none of them has been paid. Most of it's been hobos. So don't. There's no good reason for any of us to trust them as far as we can throw them, which isn't that far. If we were honest with ourselves.
I feel that too. I don't think that if Queen Stephen was definitely in a position like he claims to be, I think his life pattern would reflect it differently, that he would present himself in a different manner. Like there's material wealth and then there's wealth of the spirit, and there's an obvious distinction between these two. Like for example, with you, Jack, you are constantly exhibiting these fruits of the spirit and a spiritual wealth that you want to share with others, and you might not be financially, in a position to do a lot, that way. But and if Stephen is, in a position of financial ability, he's not going to be able to express it in a helpful manner, I don't think.
I want to say this very explicitly. They neither have material nor spiritual wealth. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear.
Hey Bex, I really struggle to see how people can compare the intentions of Paul to those of Stephen. Maybe in the bigger picture, you could struggle, but in my personal experience, Paul and Stephen, they're identical characters. They both put on a show saying they'll give me money, but it's not to support me, it's to make themselves feel good. You don't see that, Bex? Sorry.
No, there's a slight difference. Paul has his one talking point that you should fight the courts. So that's the difference I see. I agree with that one thing he says, but really they're pretty similar.
They're both spending their days insulting others online, being online bullies to people who are really no part of their lives. I guess I did introduce myself to Paul, but I sure didn't ask him to use me as the butt of his jokes and his content for so long, especially when there was no agreement, no partnership, no
Yeah. And he did this to multiple people. He did this to me. He did this to Wizard. He did this to Moose. There's a long track record.
Mm-hmm. Egoic fools continue their patterns of behavior.
Hi, Jack. How's it going?
Why do you care?
Oh, just checking in. You don't. Why'd you let me up? You care about something, right? You let me up here.
Well, Banana,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, if you're going to ask a question, please shut up so you can hear. Okay?
That's rude. I said sorry.
I don't care. I don't like you.
Oh, okay.
You haven't realized that?
It's the lack of respect in like stepping through the door. You have to think about yourself as a human being interacting with other human beings, you know. And I know there is a long history with some of these folks, but I try to engage in every situation as an opportunity of newness and freshness. And I gave like with Queen Stefan and his insanity machine, um, when he brings over the minions of Team Evil and stuff, like over and over and over again, I opened the door with a sense of freshness and newness, and he never responded in any other way but negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like with Hand Banana, I've just noticed that it's very petty. It's like, shenanigans and games and childlike. And I know it's because he has a childlike heart and he wants to be entertained. But sometimes you have to step away a little bit from the entertainment and work on your spiritual cultivation as well. So I know it's a tough thing too.
It's easy to fix if they'd shut up and listen. Their focus on entertainment, it creates distractions. They're not really paying attention. They're just floating through life like it's a joke. Banana, Steven, those, since they showed up, I'll just keep it to them. They're clowns. They don't see that they're clowns. They don't see that they're wasting their time. They think they're doing good things. They're living their life. I'm not going to judge them. But I know, Frank, this has been part of my problem. I got excommunicated from my hometown. Nobody around me wants to spend any time with me. So I reached out, knowing there's a greater world than just where I live, hoping I could connect to other human beings like you, Frank. Instead, what God has brought me is a bunch of trolls, a bunch of clowns. And please, for those who are here, I'm not including you. You guys know who you are. I hope you know you're excluded. But the folks who keep predominantly joining the panel have been a bunch of clowns, egoic fools, hanging out all day online, talking about this, talking about that, complaining about this, complaining about that. No purpose. I didn't take my life seriously in the past. I thought I did. I was taking my problems seriously. I was taking my thoughts seriously, just like Steven and Paulie Boy and Banana and Tommy. They're all taking their thoughts so seriously, not life. Frank, my honest as a man, you haven't been here for a while, but my honest as a man, I am trying to find people who take Jack seriously. Many do.
Agreed. Indeed. And you should. Yeah. It's important. And you remember, like, one of the first or second times I came and visited you, I said, your message is good and it's clear and it's strong, but sometimes the static gets in the way a little bit. I know a lot of people are interested in this so-called Jerry Springer effect because it does power numbers and it powers engagement, but in the long run it doesn't have any true spiritual value unless like you've been trying to work and bring them back to center. But if they're just like stubbornly reticent and aggressive and just won't even make a gentle small step in the direction of compromise, it's like, wow. I mean, how many times do you have to face that before you finally say, hey, maybe enough is enough? At the same time, I wanted to ask you, like, for example, some of these folks, they come in and they say, oh yeah, you're grifting, you're asking for shekels or something like that. I've never felt that from you, and I've never seen that from you. And in fact, you don't even give any opportunities for people to contribute. Like you're not doing that actively. Like, what I wanted to say was, is there any other means to contribute to help a little bit? Because I know you're going to LA and it's my hometown, and I thought, it might be fun to drop a little something in your direction. But I don't have a connection to the YouTube thing. And so I was wondering, like, do you have another thing? Like, I have a buy me a coffee. So that's like a real easy one for me to use because I'm already a member on that site. It's free to open. I don't know if you have one of those or not. I don't think you have a Patreon either, right? And I know some people use Cash App, but I've never used that before. So the only avenue that I know, like if I wanted to give a little gift to the spirit, which I do, and I've been thinking about it since I heard about, your mission to LA, and it's, it's something I'm always excited about. Any little extra help could definitely, just give you more freedom, essentially. Like you said, the money's just necessary to get through the door, to pay the tickets, to book the hotels, to get a meal, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I was looking for an avenue to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do have PayPal. I'm on there under my name and email, and then the Cash App link. I do have it. That's kind of what I use. The one you don't use, Frank. But you know what, brother? Don't worry about it. There's those who can give, and those who can give should give. Those who have the comfort and they're we're here to give back to the world, truly. And I appreciate your observation and words, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
And no, I actually do have a PayPal. I'll just have to like get back into it. I haven't used it in so long. Like I like the Buy Me a Coffee app because it works and they take less than YouTube and less than PayPal. So if you haven't considered it in the past, you might like to check Buy Me a Coffee out because it's got a lot of functions that you can offer. Like you could even set up spiritual consultations at, like $50 an hour or something. And then people could buy those as a gift and you can do them over Zoom calls. And I know it's just something extra, and there's always something extra to look into that takes time. But I've found a lot of benefit in it, and it's given people an easy avenue, like to connect with me and show love occasionally. And people do like to do that. I spend hours listening to you. You're the main podcast I listen to throughout the week. Like I said, I can't call in, or even I can't even get in the chat because I'm getting ready for work and I'm going to the office and stuff. But yeah, it's always been a pleasure.
Frank, thank you sincerely. I appreciate that, man. And Snow, thank you. I appreciate all of you. We are here. I don't remember exactly what you said, Frank, but you brought up the thought that came up from your words. It goes in line with what I said before. For me to find humility in myself, I had to seek where I was wrong. And when I found I was wrong, actually, I used to deny being wrong. No, I'm not wrong. No, I'm not angry. No, right? All this stuff. I was wrong. Confess to God that you have been wrong when you've been wrong. Confess to God. And then with that practice, go confess to the God and the others that you were wrong to. We live in this world of egoic delusions. Donald Trump is evidence of the collective delusions of America. He is not qualified. Tell you what, let me, I've never met the man. From a distance, he certainly appears to be unstable since he's continuing, well, unstable is normal in this world. Jeeps, you get it. I see them all the same. I see them all as the same. We can either walk with the spirit of love and goodness, the Holy Spirit that comes through. We can either walk with love and joy and peace and patience, kindness, goodness, or we can deny all those things. And guess what the ego does? The ego denies all the fruits of the spirit. It denies all the good because the ego's job is to keep you alive. The ego wants to survive, and to survive, it's got to be right. Well, you can survive on your own without God, thinking you're without God, and you can keep fighting everyone else to prove you're right. Or allow what is to be what is and move forward. Mankind is ready for change 2025 is going to be a change for sure. Okay, Bex, I see that. I do see there is a clear opposite when you point it out that way. Paul's is a message of freedom, empowerment, pro-material existence. Stephen's is a message of slavery, entrapment, anti-material existence. I'm not sure about that material part, but what I do know, start looking for the similarities to know the truth.
I could tell you one thing they both have in common is they don't contain the message of love. They're both devoid of, basic human kindness and love towards each other or towards the people that follow their so-called teaching or tune into their show. They both seem to have a lot of hatred, and the great motivational speaker Tony Robbins said, the ego is edging God out. He was a fun one,
I've been using that recently because it is absolutely true. Hey, Cosmic and the boys, thank you very much. Watch some of these characters you've had up previously. They fight and argue over money. They fight and argue over anything. That's what they love to do. That's how they make their content. They fight and argue. They insult. They second guess. They cause doubts. Doesn't that sound like the devil? Doesn't it sound like the devil who would spend their days online insulting, finding arguments?
It is demonic, and it's negative competition, and it's the opposite of what the message of God would have us do. We need to collaborate and be, not competition, but collaboration, I think, is better.
Well, this is another part of the issue that the insecure ego. It's like a juvenile child when people are carrying unresolved trauma. I'm sorry, Jeeps, if you're talking about Paul and Stephen, you are wrong, Jeeps. Consider from my perspective, Paul and Stephen are exactly the same. They have different attributes. They have different qualities. They've got different hang-ups. They are exactly the same because both Paul and Stephen are wrong about Jack Talcott. You'll figure that out too, Jeeps, eventually. But I know you love both Paul and Stephen too.
You're right. And they're aligned in their mission to undermine your message and to poke fun at you and to tear at the snags of your sweater and basically try to break you down and bring you down, they're aligned in that. And so their intention is the same.
You kind of broke there with that last part you said.
Oh, sorry. I just said that it seems that they're aligned, that their intention, their goal is the same and, causing you harm in some way.
I apologize. I'm kind of checking the chat here.
Yeah, it looks like thing. If I could take the opportunity, am I coming through clearly, or is there?
No, you're sounding good. Please talk.
Okay, so I wanted to mention a little more about the www.buymeacoffee page. I've got one. It's /Frank Monday. I just get a little shout out there. But if you start one, I'll be the first to drop a little something to make your time in LA a little more happy. And it's not going to be any little thing. Because I know on your part, if you do it, like if you start a coffee page at that particular website, then it's going to take you time. You've got to put in the data, you've got to throw up some pictures. And so I'm stepping forward to say, if you want to earn a little extra something on your way down to LA to have a good time and enjoy a wonderful spiritual retreat, I would make it worth your while because I'd love to see you on the coffee page. And I'm there, and we could maybe collaborate on more things. Like I would definitely comment on any posts you made and try to bolster it in that way. And I have a bit of a following there. It's not large, but it is substantial. And I just think being the low ground, like you take a low position and you allow these people sometimes to walk all over you because you have a kind heart and you want to bring them back towards center and back towards truth, right? And you want to spread the message and reach as many people as you can. I just think it would open one more avenue for you to reach a broader audience and receive more support. And any little bit helps, right?
You know, Frank, I appreciate that. I may check that app out and see. Cot Fuchsias, thank you for the question. Jack, how do I donate? For those who are interested in supporting this adventure with me and are able and willing, in the description of the video is a Cash App info, and I think I pulled the PayPal. I am on PayPal, but I don't think I have the link set up here already.
See, this is just more proof to me, Jack, that you've never been interested in the shekels, as Queen Stefan would like to say, right? You've been doing it as a heart-centered activity to bring people towards center. And in no matter, like, even you're suffering and you don't have, as my dad would say, and sorry for the language, a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, you're still offering yourself up to people for comfort and spiritual training and the word of God. And I can't, what just baffles me is how so many people misconstrue what you're up to.
Frank, thank you for seeing that. And for others who see, it really is. To me, it's mind-blowing. But this is what I realized, Frank. People are irrational. Human beings are stupid animals. They think they're smart as hell. That's how I used to be. And now I know better. Because of the crazy things I have experienced with other human beings, I am 1000% convinced God is with me and my life. I'm the cause of all my failures, but I trust that God has a plan greater than those places I failed. And Frank, I'm excited for our future. There's something big coming for us. Hey, I'm loving the conversations and I don't want to cut it short, but I am changing my path. And we're coming up on an hour. Maybe it's time to wrap it up.
Well, again, thank you for having me on, Jack. Much love to you and God bless. And don't let the haters going to hate. Let them do their thing. Those who really genuinely care about you and know that you're doing the right thing, we're here for you, and we got your back.
I know you do. It's an honor. I'm grateful to have crossed paths with you, Frank Monday. And for those who haven't checked him out, check him out. Give him a subscribe and a little support. He shares a lot of different wisdom different than mine, but similar, aligned. His education and his perspective has a slightly different. He communicates himself very well, and I encourage you to check him out. Brothers and sisters, back to the topic, finding your love of life. I wanted to, with this topic, I know we're a ways in. I wanted to kind of share how I came to this in my own self. With Frank, we talked about some of these retreats, and I've mentioned my past events. I've been to a Tony Robbins. I encourage you, you ever get a chance to go to a Tony Robbins live event? That guy is a rock star, man. He's where he is because he's of who he is. He does a good job. And I've been to other events too. And these events, they transform us. Truly, the goal of any coach, any aspect in self-development, you want to create the life you love. You want to create the life of your dreams. You might have lived a nightmare. You might have lived a life just, it was okay. It was all right. But there's more coming up. You're not done. I'm not done. I'm just getting started, man. My life started 7 years ago. I had my 7-year birthday here on the 1st the other day. That's when Jack Talcott started living again. When I chose to live instead of survive. And I admit, early on in my journey, my vision is of success. Oh, I've dreamed of so many things in my future. I've dreamed and I've pursued success in so many different ways. And I imagined if I succeeded with this wealth, I'd have the love and the support and the house and the cars, and I'd have everything I needed, and I would love my life then. If I was traveling around and real successful, I would love living then. But it hasn't happened yet. I'm not going to deny my love. Don't deny your love. You can start loving your life today. Find a reason. Imagine a reason and make sure it's true. You got plenty of reasons to love being you. There's others who love you. Maybe they're not around you like me, but I know there's others who love me, and there's others who love you. And there's others who would love to meet you. And that's what I'm hoping for me too. If you know anyone who might love to meet a guy like me, particularly if they got a path or a way where they want to like really flip over the tables on the money changers, because that's what's in my heart, brothers and sisters. Let's end this Federal Reserve. Let's bring reforms into this world, and it starts with you, in you, today. Let today, if you haven't started yet, let today become the start of your new adventure in becoming and discovering you. You don't know who you can become until you try. You don't know what you can achieve until you take that step forward. Now, if you take a step forward to try and accomplish something great, you might fall on your face a couple of times. Get up and get moving again. You don't have time to stop. Life is not for entertainment. Life is not for working. Life is for, you know what, whatever you want. It's for whatever you want. What I found I want to learn. I want to share. I want to discover. I want to explore and create. That is the Spirit of God. The creative force is within you. The knower that knows is within you. The knower that knows it all is here in the now. And there's a perfection to God. You and I, we might be perfectly imperfect. Someone asked yesterday if I found or achieved perfection. I make no claim. I am perfectly imperfect. I accept me as I am. There is a perfection to how God has created me, and despite my failures, my shame, God accepts me. God accepts you. Turn to God. Know that God is true. And then within you, seek the guidance, the leadership from Jesus, the Christ, from the heavens. Bring it into you so that you can feel and become embodied with love. You are embodied with love when you don't corrupt yourself, when you don't impurify yourself, when you don't toxify yourself. You are pure, and pure is innocent. So feel good about being an innocent child of God, and then live that way the rest of the day. Brothers and sisters, I think that's a good point out. Thank you all for joining. And if you haven't yet, do the subscribe thing, invite others. We'll see what happens in the future. Till next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. Thank you again, and God bless us all. Peace.